The purpose of our little gathering this afternoon is to feed the press. Because they've been on the road for a while, so there are free snags down there, guys. And terrific healthy salad. I noticed the snags have gone down and the salad hasn't been touched.
That's true.
That's right. So we'll be watching very carefully. We're here with Michael Casey and of course Jenny Macklin, and to support Michael's campaign here in this electorate, where we are up against a sitting Liberal National Party member, and the issues here are very clear. It's whether we're out supporting better health and hospital services for the communities who live in this northern approach to Brisbane, or whether we're going to see those cut to pieces. This morning we're up at the Medicare local just up the road in North Lakes, and it's terrific because what they're all doing there is outreach services, supporting families, supporting older folks who have particular health challenges, those who are needing community-based cancer care, and as well as all the healthcare services which are necessary for local families, particularly people raising little kids who may not just have the best healthcare facilities right next door. And so that's part and parcel of what the good people of Longman need as well. They want decent community healthcare. They want to make sure that their health and hospital system's working well for them. They want to make sure that this little munchkin here, who's drooling very eloquently, and the little bubs up the back, Rosie, who I just met before.
Here's Rebecca down here.
And Rebecca down there, that they get the best possible care. And so what we want to make sure is that our investments in the health and hospital system of the country are doing the absolute best by these good local folk. So when you hear me nationally talking about we're building the future, you don't build the future unless you're building local communities like this one. And here it means having access to good first-class health care nearby. It means having access to the best possible schools. I notice all you folks here will be thinking about where you send your kids to school. What you'll know that when they go off to primary school, they're going to have access to schools with new multi-purpose facilities, new school libraries, new classrooms, new interactive whiteboards. Go off to secondary school, and the kids are going to have, in many of the state secondary schools for the first time, computers right across the schools, because we've installed some 1 million computers right around the country to make sure there's no divide between rich schools and poor schools. And when these little ones go off to early childhood education, we now, through our policy, are going to make sure that this possum here and that possum there, who's drooling very effectively still, they're going to get a minimum of 15 hours every week of pre-literacy and pre-numeracy through a qualified teacher in the Early Childhood Education Centre. So whether it's starting with healthcare when newborns are around, when they first come and join the family, whether it's when they go off to early childhood education, into the school system with their state-of-the-art libraries, into the secondary schools where we now have these terrific trades training centres, and I know there's been investment up here in them as well, all through new language centres, new science centres. Some of the kids want to go off to university. We've got 190,000 more kids at university than we used to. So Hanson, we expect you to be off there as well. So when I talk about building an education and healthcare system for the future, it's not just one of those lofty phrases about the country at large. It's about these little kids, these families here, and this community here in this part of the northern approaches to Brisbane, because that's where the rubber hits the road. And the final thing is this, is to make sure that when we're building these great facilities for the future and these great supports for the future, we've got our priorities absolutely right. And that's one of the reasons why we've been talking so long and hard today about our set of priorities and those which are being put forward by the other side of politics. I think we've got our priorities for these communities right. If I ask one question in the future, do you have better schools and better school facilities than you did 6 or 7 years ago? I think the answer is yes. If I ask you the question, you have early childhood centres who are now offering pre-literacy and pre-numeracy with a teacher at the centre now, as opposed to 6 or 7 years ago, I think the answer is yes. And if I look at the secondary schools, and whether it's Caboolture High or wherever, now with computers for the first time, I think that's better than it was before. So when I ask these basic questions of before and after, I'm pretty happy about the fact that we're making a difference. So this is all about building communities, building health systems, building education systems, and making sure that the good folk out here are also connected to broadband, so that we have the best broadband services available to people living in centres and communities like this, compared with those around the rest of the country and the rest of the world. So that when, what's your first name, mate?
Alex.
So when Alex, who's now in Year 9 up at St Columba's, is doing his homework online from St Columba's when his school's connected to the National Broadband Network in several years ahead, and he gets home, he's on the National Broadband Network and all of his assignment work is there for him to use. It's a great story. It's a great story of change and how it affects people on the ground in a real way. And so, mate, your job is to take that message out to all the good burgers of Longman. And I know you've been working hard. He was out at the train station this morning. He said to me, getting a good reception.
Very good reception, yeah.
That's okay. And that's just because you're a good-looking guy, apart from your politics. So he's been out there working hard. And it's communities like this where we have a real message to deliver. And so I'd say to the Liberal National Party here in this part of Australia, people don't have the wool easily pulled over their eyes. They know what Campbell Newman's cuts have meant for this community. They know where it's fallen. They know the pressures which have been put on the local hospital as a result. They know the pressures that have been put onto local schools as a result. In Brisbane we're talking about school closures because they're trying to shut down 50 across the state. And so the alternative actually has a very clear image here. It's not just out there as something we just talk about. People know when their health services are being cut. And we know people in these communities have lost their jobs. And so it's not a theory, it's a fact. And so, Michael, out there fighting the good fight with this good community and you building up the community services we need for this part of Australia for the future, part of building Australia's future. Thanks, mate.
Absolutely.
Now, say a few things.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for being here, and Minister Macklin as well. We've got a collection of young families here having a bit of a barbecue, having a talk about those services that people in this area rely upon. It's a growing area, there's a lot of young families, and services like health and education are vitally important in this area, and they're also services that show a stark contrast between our vision of building a future and the Coalition's vision of tearing that down. One topic that's come up here today has been the school kids bonus, which is $410 a year for eligible primary school and $820 for eligible high school kids. 11,000 families in this electorate are eligible and enjoying the benefits of that one benefit alone, and that's something that stands to be lost under Tony Abbott. We need to highlight these differences between building a future, building a positive future, and tearing one down. And I just wanted to thank Prime Minister Kevin Rudd again and Minister Macklin for coming and helping us share that message today.
Okay, folks, thanks very much.